Welcome everybody to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo. We got to talk about my issues with Bronny James. So my biggest issue with Bronny James is that he has been so inconsistent as an NBA basketball player. One minute he's hot, the next minute he's cold. One minute he's good, the next minute he's bad. One minute he looks like an NBA basketball player, the next minute he looks like a bum. It bothers me so much how inconsistent Bronny has been. And also, whenever pundits talk about Bronny and they talk about him having a great game, they never stop talking about it. Like, they continue to praise him. They say he's an NBA basketball player. But whenever he has a bad game, it's crickets. Gilbert Arenas. Like, it's so wild to see the ups and downs of Bronny James. And I'm actually a Bronny James basketball fan. I wish he was still in college, but he's in the NBA now. So I got to critique him as such. I wish he would just stay in the NBA G League the entire season. That's where he belongs. He needs to continue to develop. He's not in college anymore. He's in the NBA. He should be in the G League for the entire season. But we know how politics of the NBA is. LeBron James, maybe it's his farewell tour coming up this year. Who knows? Bronny's going to be with the big boys. It just is what it is. So my hope is that Bronny develops slowly, but time is ticking. We don't know what's going on with LeBron James. Is he going to Dallas? Is he going to New York? You got to take Bronny with you if he leaves, right? So it's just a lot going on. And Bronny it's not it. It's just, I don't see it happening. I don't see him being an NBA basketball player. I just had to get that off really quick. With that being said, like, comment, share, and I'll see you next time. Welcome everybody to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we got to talk about Bronny James. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So this video is going to be a little bit different because I want to paint a picture of my thoughts fully on Bronny James that goes beyond my YouTube video. So the first ever YouTube video I recorded is called The Biggest Issues with Bronny James. And I recorded that video because I was watching Bronny James play in Summer League, and the first half of that game, he played so bad that I refused to watch the second half of the game, and I recorded that video. So that was my first ever video, and big picture, I was talking about him not being a good NBA prospect. Now, let's kind of go back to my thoughts on him in high school, right? So Bronny averaged 14 points per game in high school, and that's actually pretty good, especially because his team was a semi-powerhouse basketball program. So 14 points per game is not bad at all. The issue comes with the selection of Bronny as a McDonald's All-American, and that got me thinking that there is more at play with Bronny James, because there's no way you could tell me a 14 point per game scorer can be a McDonald's All-American. That just doesn't happen. So he gets selected for the game, and he actually has a pretty good game. I'll give him that. So that's kind of like the start of me really paying attention to Bronny. It's not that I want to pay attention to Bronny, but it's so much attention on him. It's like you have to evaluate him and comment on him like he's big because of his father. So he gets a scholarship to USC, and at that moment he has the heart issues. Now, usually when basketball players have heart issues or serious health issues, that usually deter NBA GMs from drafting them. Like, you have to really start from scratch and get the trust of the NBA brain trust to actually get selected. So having a major heart issue, I just knew he was going to go back to school. That didn't happen. He declared for the NBA draft after averaging only 4 points per game at USC. He was very underwhelming at USC, but he declared for the draft. And that also put something in my head to say, okay, yes, there is bigger things at play with Bronny James. There is definitely an agenda with Bronny James. And that comes at the behest of his father, LeBron James. LeBron James said he wanted to play with his son for the longest. He said it in plenty of interviews, and this was the moving pieces of Bronny playing with his father. So he declares for the NBA draft, and his agent tells NBA teams only 3 teams he's going to work out for. Now, if you are projected to be in the second round, you will want to work out for as many teams as possible. You don't limit yourself when you are a fringe prospect. So he limited his teams to only 3 teams. And what happens? The Los Angeles Lakers select him with the 55th overall pick. Bronny is now going to play with his father, LeBron James. And that's kind of the conclusion of the whole Bronny saga, right? He ultimately ends up playing with his father. Did he deserve it at that point? No, but it happens. He's in the NBA. Cool. But we have to evaluate him as an NBA prospect, right? His entire rookie year in the NBA, it was underwhelming. When he got a chance to play in the NBA, he didn't really show much. Now, in the G League, he was pretty good. I'll give him that. He was a good G League player. But it's a difference from being a good G League player to eventually trying to be a good NBA player. And when he got his opportunity in the big leagues, he didn't show much. So now we're in year 2 of Bronny James. And he just completed his first 2 preseason games. Now, the first preseason game, he went 1 for 12. In the second preseason game, he had 5 turnovers. He didn't play well in neither preseason game. So what does that tell me? That tells me that Bronny is just never going to be a good NBA basketball player. He's been given every opportunity to showcase being a good NBA prospect, and there's nothing good that Bronny does. Like, his ball handling is poor. His shot selection is bad. His defense is poor. Like, there's nothing I can point to that Bronny does well. And we have to just call a spade a spade. Bronny does not deserve to be in the NBA right now. There's nothing I could point to say that Bronny has showed me any signs of being an NBA prospect. And we just got to stop with the BS. Like, he's been given every opportunity to showcase himself, and he is just falling flat. In year 2, I expected him to take another leap, and I didn't see it in the first 2 preseason games. So I'm hoping the Lakers are not really going to give him significant minutes in the NBA, because based off those 2 preseason games and what we've seen last year, that would be a grave mistake. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Welcome, everybody, to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we got to talk about Bronny James and the Los Angeles Lakers. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So, the Los Angeles Lakers wrapped up preseason play with a loss to the Sacramento Kings, 117-116. This game was used as a dress rehearsal to the regular season, as Luka Doncic, DeAndre Ayton, Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, and Gabe Vincent were named starters for opening night versus the Warriors. Luka led the way with 31 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists, while Marcus Smart came off the bench to contribute 14 points. Now, we all know that LeBron James missed the entire preseason and will hopefully be back mid-November. But Bronny James also missed the final 2 preseason games due to an ankle sprain. Just like his father, this injury seemed to come out of nowhere, and we don't know how serious it is. Now, when I first heard about the ankle sprain, my first thoughts were to be mad at Bronny James and the Lakers organization. They know that Bronny needs as many reps as possible, hinting during training camp that he will be a key player off the bench. Now, do I believe Bronny has a severe ankle injury that caused him not to play in the final 2 preseason games? No. But the Lakers realized that they have to protect Bronny from himself because they don't want to break his confidence as a basketball player. So they held him out with the bogus ankle injury. In the 4 games Bronny played this preseason, he averaged 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists while shooting 25% from the field and 15% from 3. Now, the Lakers played him 21 minutes a game and played him at point guard, so they gave him every opportunity to showcase himself. But by all metrics, Bronny has not improved from his rookie year. So I actually want to commend the Lakers for sitting Bronny the last couple games. They know they cannot continue playing Bronny, and I would be very surprised if he didn't spend the entire season in the G League. If you look at the Lakers roster, there isn't a player that Bronny can play over. Now, I watch every preseason game Bronny play, and that man looks so lost most of the time. If you can, watch Awful Coaching on YouTube. He does a great job of breaking down Bronny as a player. He doesn't know what to do on defense. He refuses to cut to the basket. His handle is bad as a potential point guard, and he always settles for threes when he can't shoot. For the record, I always liked Bronny as a person. He seemed like a cool, well-mannered kid who just wants to play basketball. He was forced to enter the NBA draft by his selfish father to create that father-son moment. He really had no control over the situation, so of course, I'm going to give him a pass. But as an NBA-level talent, Bronny is never going to be that. I'm just happy the Lakers finally came to that conclusion. The LeBron James era in LA is almost over, and hopefully the Bronny era is almost over as well. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Difficult to generate as many good shots with so many guys out. Where did you think that was that ultimately, I guess, expected, or what were you trying to get to that was just difficult with the personnel that was out there?
It's hard to run offense without ball handlers.
Welcome everybody to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we got to talk about Bronny James. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So I was not anticipating on making any Bronny James videos because I felt the Lakers weren't going to play him at all this season based on his preseason performance. Now, if you don't know, in the preseason, Bronny played like trash. He averaged 7 points per game while shooting 25% from the field and 15% from 3. Now, the Lakers were forced to play Bronny yesterday because half the team is hurt. Specifically, at the guard position, Luka Doncic, Marcus Smart, and Gabe Vincent all missed the game on Monday versus the Portland Trail Blazers. So, once again, Bronny was given a great opportunity to showcase himself and prove that he has progressed as a player from his rookie year. So, the Lakers took on the Blazers, and there was no way they were going to win that game. Like I said, not only is half the team hurt, but this was the second game of a back-to-back. So expectations were at all-time low for the Lakers. In 20 minutes of game action, Bronny James had 0 points on 2 shot attempts, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 fouls, and 3 turnovers. Another lackluster performance from Bronny James. First of all, the Blazers are a bad team who just lost their coach to illegal gambling accusations. If there was ever a game in which Bronny should have played well, it was this one. With playing a bad team with no pressure at all, Bronny shot the ball twice. One thing about Bronny is once he gets in that game, he usually shoots the rock. But for whatever reason, he wasn't that aggressive. Going up against Drew Holiday actually will do that to you, but that's the NBA. every game you go against the best, so I can't give Bronny that excuse. At least for this season, it seems as if Bronny is going to be in the NBA and not spend most of the time in the G League. I can admit my analysis was wrong on that, but is there ever going to be a point in which the Lakers can admit Bronny is not an NBA player right now? The thing about Bronny that we all know at this point is that he's only in the NBA because of his father, LeBron James. The NBA gave LeBron that Griffey father-son moment that he wanted so badly. In my eyes, that moment, it was corny to me because there was nothing organic about it. And because Bronny's just not good at basketball. So honestly, don't be surprised if this is my last YouTube video on Bronny. I think at this point, I fully expressed my thoughts on the whole situation, and unless Bronny, by some miracle, turns into a legit NBA prospect this season, there's nothing more to say. Well, actually, I'll say this. If Bronny has a good game this season, I'll make sure to talk about it. Even though one good game can't tell the full story, I just want the audience to know that my intent when discussing Bronny is to be fair and not make it a personal thing. When the Lakers get back healthy at that guard position, be prepared to see more DNPs for Bronny. But if the injury bug continues for the Lakers, expect to see more awful basketball from Bronny James. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Welcome everybody to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we got to talk about Bronny James. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So, despite playing without 3 of the 5 starters, including all-star point guard Trae Young, the Atlanta Hawks blew out the Los Angeles Lakers 122-102. Luka Doncic, by his own standards, had a bad game with 22 points, 11 assists, and 5 turnovers. There is a Laker player who had a pretty solid game, which is why I'm making this video. Bronny James finished with 9 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists on 4 of 6 shooting, and was +4 in the game. Now, these numbers aren't spectacular, but for Bronny and his journey and standards, it was good. One of the things that always frustrated me about Bronny was that there were too many times in which he looked completely lost on offense and defense. This game was different. He looked like he belonged and had multiple high IQ moments. Now, I'm giving credit where credit is due, and I'm not taking anything away from Bronny, but I just have to point out some facts when it comes to Bronny and this performance. So I don't think it's a coincidence that he had his best game during a blowout. There was no pressure, and Bronny was able to play freely. The game was over with in the third quarter, so Bronny played mostly well when the game was out of reach. Also, I don't think Bronny critics are asking for too much when it comes to his performance. All we want for him is to be consistent and look like he knows what he's doing on the basketball court. Now, the main reason why we are critical of him is because of this. On March 6, 2023, LeBron James tweeted, "Man, Bronny definitely better than some of these cats I've been watching on League Pass. Shit lightweight hilarious." Now, at the time, Bronny was 18 years old and a senior in high school. With that one tweet, the narrative changed and pressure was put upon Bronny to prove that he has legit NBA talent. Along with that, he left school after his freshman year to declare for the NBA draft, meaning he felt like he was ready for the NBA. Now, if you just look at the stats of Bronny James' career, so far, you see that it hasn't been really impressive. Last year, he shot 31% from the field and 28% from 3. Even with the small sample size, there's no way he should be shooting that bad. Now, once again, Bronny had a good game for his standards. Now, the next step for him is to continue to play well when he gets the opportunity. Now, of course, I would want for Bronny to play well when the game is more competitive, but it's a good stepping stone in his development. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Was there a moment in that third quarter that you realized that this was not going to be one of those nights where at least your first unit was going to get that?
I realized that in the first 2 minutes of the game.
What did you see in those first two games?
Nothing.
Thanks, Coach.
Welcome, everybody, to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we got to talk about Bronny James. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So, the Los Angeles Lakers had another solid win on the road by defeating the Charlotte Hornets 121-111. Luka Doncic led the way for the Lakers with 38 points, while Austin Reeves chipped in with 24 points. The Lakers now move to 8-3 on the season, despite LeBron James missing all of the season so far. Lakers coach J.J. Redick actually announced that LeBron will begin practicing with the G League team, the South Bay Lakers. This is a good sign for everybody, as this is a clear indicator that LeBron James will be making his season debut soon. Now, in the Lakers versus Hornets game, coach J.J. Redick played 9 guys, but one player got a DNP that I just knew was going to see playing time, and that's Bronny James. In the last Lakers game versus the Atlanta Hawks, Bronny had 9 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal in 18 minutes. It was easily his best game of the season. Now, in fairness, the Hawks game was a blowout, and Austin Reeves missed that game, while the Hornets matchup was more competitive and Reeves came back from injury. But that doesn't change the fact that Bronny couldn't get in the rotation after such a good game. This is a clear indication that the Lakers coaching staff does not trust Bronny James. When you look at the Lakers bench, Bronny is the only combo guard on there. Gabe Vincent has missed most of the season due to injury, and Nick Smith Jr. was just sent down to the G League. That just leaves Bronny at that position, and he still couldn't get in the game versus a bad Hornets team playing without LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. If this continues to be the case, that Bronny won't be getting any minutes, then the smart move would be to send him down to the G League so he can continue to play and develop. This year, so far, Bronny is averaging 2.6 points per game on 35% shooting from the field. Those numbers are a slight improvement from last year, but clearly Bronny hasn't shown enough to get consistent playing time. In Coach Redick's eyes, beating the Hornets was a must-win game. He was visibly mad and frustrated that they got blown out by the Hawks. So JJ only played the guys he trusted versus the Hornets. Now, as a young development player, you always have to be ready. One game, you could play 30 minutes, and the next, you could play 2. But you always have to be ready to hoop when called upon. Now, the Lakers' next game is tomorrow versus the defending champs, Oklahoma City Thunder. It will be interesting to see if Bronny gets playing time versus the Thunder. I just hope he's ready if that opportunity comes to fruition. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Welcome, everybody, to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we got to talk about Bronny James. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So, the Los Angeles Lakers announced today that they will be assigning Bronny James to their G League affiliate, the South Bay Lakers. Now, Bronny is no stranger to the G League because last year he played 18 games down there. Honestly, Bronny is a really good G League player. In that environment, he looks more comfortable than he does in the NBA, and he has a tremendous impact on his G League team. Now, let me explain why it's a good move for the Lakers to have sent him down to the G League. First of all, it's a sign that the Lakers are fully healthy. We all know that LeBron James missed the beginning of the season due to sciatica. He came back on Tuesday and had a pretty good game versus the Jazz. He played 30 minutes and only shot the ball 7 times, finishing with 11 points and 12 assists. Gabe Vincent, another ball handler for the Lakers, came back to the lineup and gave them positive minutes off the bench. Everyone on the roster is fully healthy, so there isn't any room for Bronny in the rotation. The only reason why he even played was because of all of the injuries. Now, the Lakers don't need to depend on Bronny, and at this point, that's a great thing. Also, we got to look at what Bronny did on the court when he did get an opportunity to play. In 10 games this season, He's averaging 2.1 points per game on 29% shooting from the field and 27% from three, 1.8 assists per game, and 0.8 rebounds per game. Also, he's doing this playing double the minutes from last year. By all metrics, Bronny has not improved from his rookie season. Prior to the start of this season, Bronny was projected to have a larger role on the Lakers, and that actually came to fruition. However, he has not been good thus far this season. When JJ Redick yelled at Bronny to shoot the effing ball, you knew at that point he was going to get sent to the G League. Bronny, he just lacks confidence as an NBA player, and the Lakers don't have time to coddle him as he learns to gain confidence. When Luka Doncic was traded to the Lakers from the Mavericks, everything changed in the organization. That, and along with new ownership, changed the focus on trying to make LeBron as comfortable and happy as possible to making sure Luka has every opportunity to win a title in LA. At the end of the day, Bronny will always be a distraction on the Lakers. All of his teammates know that he doesn't belong and is only there because of LeBron. Now, if Bronny actually played well, all of that talk of nepotism, it wouldn't even matter. But the combination of playing like trash and being fast-tracked to the NBA is naturally going to rub his teammates the wrong way. Well, Bronny is back in the G League, and the distraction, at least for now, is out the door. With this one move, the Lakers are telling everyone that they have championship aspirations. And the only thing I can do is to salute them for that move. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. I don't want to call that man a liar, but he's giving me vibes of someone who's not telling the truth. Welcome everybody to the Sports Culture, all things sports. It's Jay Banfo, and we got to talk about LeBron and Bronny James. But before we get into that, like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for your support. So 3 days ago, LeBron dropped a new episode of his Mind the Game podcast with Steve Nash. In this episode, he touched on a variety of topics such as rehabbing with the G League team, fitting back into the Lakers offense, and the offseason acquisitions of Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton, and Jake LaRavia. But what took me by surprise was when he discussed his son, Bronny James' development as an NBA prospect.
He's made a jump. He feels more comfortable, getting a little more opportunity and taking it. How's that been?
No, it's been great. You know, not only as a father, but just as a student of the game, to see someone kind of use what he was able to do last year in the G League. You know, use that, get more comfortable, then go into summer league and be even more comfortable. And when his time has been called this year, just continue to feel good about it. I think, you know, in those games where Luka was out or AR was out or Marcus was out, you know, I think we had back-to-back games, a home game. I forgot who we played at home, and then we had a back-to-back game in Portland. I was just super proud of him, of the maturation process of him being to not only play well at home and then have a back-to-back in a tough environment in Portland and then do it again. That's what the NBA is all about.
Now, LeBron confused me with that one because if you want to pick and choose one or two games in which Bronny played well and looked comfortable, okay, I get it. But at the same time, I can pick and choose 5 or 6 games in which Bronny has played bad and looked uncomfortable. We can start by just looking at the stats. This season in the NBA, Bronny is averaging 1.9 points per game, 0.8 rebounds, and 1.7 assists on 28% shooting from the field and 25% from three. Right now, Bronny is back in the NBA, and if those stats are an improvement and shows growth from last year, then I'm not really sure how this whole Bronny thing is going to work out because those numbers are trash. Now, I'm not expecting LeBron to talk bad about Bronny. That's not a realistic expectation. But if you're going to highlight the good that you see in Bronny, then it's only fair to keep it real and discuss the struggles that he's been going through so far this season. Now, I want to continue to be fair. I made a video some weeks ago discussing Bronny having a really good game versus the Atlanta Hawks, but that was actually the last good game Bronny had. After that, it was either a bad game or a DNP. Now, on this channel, I'm not going to cover Bronny and what he does in the G League. He isn't a rookie anymore, so whether he plays good or not in the G League, it's not going to move the needle for me or how I feel about him as a player. Y'all look up his G League stats this season and leave it in the comments if you think he's playing good or not. I have my opinion on that, but I'll just keep it to myself. Now, this Lakers team, when healthy, is a title contender. I'm not expecting Bronny to get important minutes for the Lakers when everyone is healthy, so it will be interesting to see what the development plan moving forward will be for Bronny. I think he should remain with the G League team for the rest of the season, but we'll see what the Lakers end up doing. Now, with that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.